My brother tried to crash my brand new car and claim the insurance money saying I gave him permission. So I pulled up the GPS tracking and a text message proving he planned the whole thing. I need to get this out before I completely lose it, because what my brother just tried to pull isn't just betrayal. It's criminal. The insurance adjuster called me, very calm and professional, and said they were finalizing the claim for my totaled car. They just needed me to sign the release, affirming that I had given my 30-year-old brother, Kevin, full and unreserved permission to use my brand new $75,000 luxury SUV, and that the resulting accident was simply an unfortunate case of reckless driving. I nearly dropped the phone. Full permission? I repeated, my voice tight. No, absolutely not. I never gave him permission to drive my car, let alone wreck it. That's when the adjuster paused and said, "Ma'am, your brother, Mr. Kevin, has explicitly stated that you lent him the vehicle for several hours yesterday, knowing he needed it for an emergency errand. He is claiming full permission. Without your corroboration, this looks like insurance fraud on his part, or worse, vehicular theft, which we would have to report to the police immediately." I looked at my kitchen counter where my brand new, perfectly detailed key fob should have been sitting. It wasn't. And that's when I realized the horrifying, calculated truth. Kevin wasn't just lying to. He was trying to frame me, claim the insurance money, and make me the fall guy for lending a highly valuable asset to an irresponsible driver. He was trying to liquidate my assets and pin the liability on me. You need context to understand the depth of this depravity.
Hey, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new stories. Let's continue.
I am Sarah, 28 years old, and I've worked my tail off since college. I graduated debt-free, got a great job in tech, and I save religiously. Buying that new car, a sleek, black, technologically advanced SUV, was my first real splurge. It was my I made it trophy. It had every single bell and whistle, including mandatory GPS tracking, cloud-based dashcam storage, and full connectivity with my phone. I'd had it for exactly 6 weeks. Kevin, bless his heart, or lack thereof, is the opposite. He's the classic golden child. Everything was handed to him. He never held a job for more than 6 months, and he has a revolving door of bad debts and get-rich-quick schemes. Our parents, Ellen and David, constantly bail him out, always telling me I need to be more understanding and helpful because I'm so established. Kevin hates that I'm successful, and he's constantly hitting me up for loans I know I'll never see again. Last week, he asked me to lend him $5,000 for a surefire investment opportunity. I finally said no. A firm, unequivocal, "I'm not enabling you anymore." No. This car, this expensive symbol of my success, was clearly his response. The incident itself happened 2 days ago. I was working from home and I noticed the keys were gone around lunchtime. At first, I thought I misplaced them. I texted Kevin, casually, asking if he'd been by the house. His reply was too fast, too smooth. "Nah, sis. Been busy all day." Why? A little alarm bell went off, but I ignored it. I figured I must have dropped the fob somewhere. Then, at 5 p.m., the police called. Not Kevin. The police. They informed me that my vehicle had been involved in a serious single-car incident off Route 14, a remote industrial road outside of town. The car was a total loss, and the driver, my brother Kevin, was being treated for minor injuries at the nearby hospital. I flew into a blind panic. I rushed to the hospital, expecting remorse, tears, maybe an apology. What I got was Kevin, sitting in a sterile room, looking smug, holding a chipped styrofoam cup. "Sarah, I'm so sorry," he started, but his eyes were calculating. It was the brakes. They failed. Completely. I tried to steer away, but I hit the barrier pretty hard. I didn't even ask why he took the car. I was just focused on the fact that he was alive, and my achievement was a pile of twisted metal. "Kevin, did you take my keys?" I demanded. "Look, I needed the car for an emergency." He snapped back, immediately defensive. "You weren't using it. I was going to fill the tank and bring it back." This is where the gaslighting started, even before the insurance company got involved. He kept insisting he was doing me a favor by taking it off my hands for a few hours. The real bombshell came yesterday when the insurance adjuster called and repeated Kevin's exact story. He took the car with my permission because he needed to pick up a specialized tool for a construction job he totally doesn't have, and that the accident was due to mechanical failure, which is a total joke. The car was new. I sat down, feeling the wave of nausea and fury wash over me. Kevin wasn't asking for forgiveness. He was demanding a payout. My payout. This wasn't an impulsive theft. This was an attempt at fraud, designed to destroy my valuable asset and extract the cash, with me either signing off as the lender or being accused of filing a false theft report after the fact. My immediate instinct was to scream and hire the most expensive lawyer on earth. But then, I remembered the tech. My beautiful brand new SUV was a rolling computer. I pulled out my phone and accessed the car's dedicated app. Even though the car was totaled and in the impound lot, the cloud data, the movement logs, the GPS history, the dash cam recordings were all instantly accessible. My hands stopped shaking and got cold. The panic evaporated, replaced by a terrible, focused calm. I opened the trip log for the time Kevin had the vehicle. He hadn't just driven off Route 14. He had started by driving directly across town, avoiding the main highways, and the log showed he spent 45 minutes parked, engine off, at a location near the old industrial park, a place notorious for sketchy, under-the-table business dealings and isolated storage units. He didn't need the car for an emergency errand or a tool pickup. The trajectory of the final drive from that warehouse district to the barrier he hit was too short, too intentional, and too isolated. It was almost like he was setting up the location. I scrolled down to the end of the log. The dashcam recording was mostly corrupted due to the impact, but the system log showed that the camera had been manually disabled just 3 minutes before the crash. Too late for the perpetrator, but just enough time to confirm the location. This wasn't a sudden, reckless impulse. This was planned. My brother tried to orchestrate a car crash and insurance fraud, and he was using my history of family loyalty against me to get away with it. I have the digital trail. Now I need the motive, and I need the one thing that will absolutely bury him. I won't be signing any papers, Kevin. I'm going back through every text message and every digital interaction we've had in the last month. I know there's something else. I'm furious, but I'm ready to fight fire with the coldest, hardest ice I can find. I spent the entire night after the original post awake. Not pacing, not crying, just sitting at my desk, staring at the GPS log. The initial shock had worn off, replaced by this chilling, focused anger. It's the kind of anger that doesn't make you scream. It makes you meticulously organize your evidence. You guys were right. This wasn't just a betrayal. This was a deliberate, two-pronged attack. Destroy the asset, claim the money, and if I fought back, blame me for lending the car to a known, irresponsible driver. Kevin was trying to insulate himself with my signature. I called the insurance adjuster back the next morning. Let's call her Ms. Lopez. I acted distressed, but played my cards close to my chest. Ms. Lopez, I said, my voice carefully shaky. I'm just so confused about why Kevin is saying I gave him permission. I love my brother, but he's not exactly reliable. I just looked at my vehicle's GPS history and I noticed something strange. He didn't take the direct route to the hospital. He spent nearly an hour parked in the old industrial zone off 14th Street. That's a mile out of the way from where he claimed he was going. Ms. Lopez's professional demeanor wavered slightly. Oh, the industrial park? Thank you for that information, Sarah. We will incorporate it into the file. We are, of course, taking Kevin's statement, but without your signed corroboration, the investigation is open. Good. The seeds of doubt were planted. Now I needed the full tree. The investigation took a sharp detour when my parents arrived. Ellen and David didn't call first. They just drove over, let themselves in with their spare key, and found me hunched over my laptop, staring at the insurance claim paperwork. This is the part where the golden child dynamic goes from annoying to outright toxic. Sarah, what in God's name are you doing? My mother, Ellen, shrieked, clutching her handbag like it was the Holy Grail. Why haven't you signed the release? Your brother is traumatized. He could have died, and all you care about is your fancy car. I care about the truth, Mom, I said, closing the laptop slowly. Kevin stole my car and totaled it. Now he's lying to the insurance company saying I gave him permission. My father, David, stepped forward, doing his usual condescending deep sigh. Oh, come on, sweetie. He didn't steal it. He borrowed it. He was under stress. You know how he gets when he has debt collectors calling? He probably just needed some air. He meant to bring it back. He wrecked a $75,000 car and is now actively committing insurance fraud by lying about my consent. I stated flatly. And that's not even the worst of it. I tried to show them the GPS log. I showed them the 45 minutes parked in the shadowy industrial area, a place zero legitimate errands would take him. See? I pointed at the screen. He was planning something. They didn't even look at the screen. They looked at each other, then back at me with pity. "Sarah," Mom started, using that sickly sweet voice she reserves for serious gaslighting maneuvers, "you're too wrapped up in your gadgets. Kevin is clumsy, not criminal. You're being vindictive because you finally said no to him last week. You want him to suffer because you think he's envious of you." "He is envious," I yelled, finally losing a sliver of my cool. "He took the car right after I refused to bail him out. This is clearly calculated." "It's just money, Sarah," my father said, leaning in. "You have plenty. He needs this payout to get back on his feet. Just sign the damn papers. Say you lent it to Wags. Him, and let the insurance company handle the damage. We will help you with the deductible, maybe." They weren't just defending him. They were complicit in pressuring me to commit fraud. They genuinely believed that ruining my life was a necessary sacrifice for Kevin's comfort. This wasn't love. This was blind, enabling toxicity. The family dynamic had turned into a suffocating red flag. I realized right then that the fight wasn't just against Kevin. It was against both of them. I was completely alone in this. After they left in a huff, declaring that I was destroying the family and that Kevin was too sensitive for this kind of hostility, I doubled down on my search for the ultimate proof. The GPS log proved premeditation, but I needed the motive, the conversation, the intent captured in writing. I remembered a crucial detail from 2 weeks ago. Kevin had been over, utterly frantic because his phone had died and he was waiting for a replacement. He had borrowed my spare iPad, the one I keep logged into iMessage, to contact some people about his latest scheme. I ran upstairs and snatched the iPad. It was still connected to my Apple ID, and while I usually delete his temporary logins, the conversations remained archived in the cloud history. My heart hammered against my ribs as I scrolled back through the messages sent from that device. Most were junk, but there, buried deep, was a thread with a contact simply saved as Mitch. Logistics. I started reading. The exchange was short, brutal, and sickeningly specific. I dropped the iPad. It clattered on the hardwood floor, the screen showing the evidence of conspiracy, theft, and calculated financial destruction. The depth of his narcissism was astonishing. He hadn't just stolen the car. He had factored in my emotional breakdown and my parents as part of his contingency plan. He planned to use my own integrity against me. She'll cave. She always caves. Not this time. This wasn't a family problem anymore. This was a criminal conspiracy involving at least 2 people, aimed at defrauding a multi-million-dollar corporation and destroying me in the process. I gathered the iPad, the GPS log, and the dashcam system records. I copied every single text thread and printed it out on heavy cardstock. I looked at the number for my car insurance's fraud department, then scrolled past it. They were too slow. I needed a lawyer who specialized in criminal defense and high-stakes white-collar crime, preferably one who loved a good showdown. I am done talking. I am done playing nice. I am done being the sister who pays the bills. I am done being Kevin's safety net. I am ready to burn this bridge to the ground. Thank you all for the overwhelming support and advice. Reading your comments after my last post, especially those that validated that my parents' behavior was extreme gaslighting, gave me the strength I needed to shift gears. Completely. I stopped being the victim and started being the prosecutor. I didn't waste a second. I hired Charlotte Vance, a corporate litigation shark recommended by a colleague. I gave her the entire file. The GPS tracking showing the 45-minute stop at the industrial lot, the logs proving the manual dashcam shutdown, and, most importantly, the printouts of Kevin's communication with Mitch Logistics detailing the 60-40 insurance split. Charlotte, who is mid-40s and looks like she was born wearing a power suit, read the texts and whistled. "Sarah, this isn't just theft. This is attempted major felony insurance fraud and criminal conspiracy. Your brother is monumentally stupid for using your iPad." "He thought he was safe because he expected me to sign the papers," I said, my voice now devoid of emotion. "He underestimated my documentation skills." Charlotte's plan was meticulous and brutal. She advised against confronting Kevin or my parents directly. The first step was to notify the insurance company's legal department, not just the claims adjuster. "We need them to be the ones who drop the hammer, Sarah," Charlotte explained. "They have the deep pockets and the legal standing to press full criminal charges, which is what we want. We just give them the evidence on a silver platter." Within 24 hours, Charlotte sent a detailed dossier to the insurance legal team. including the demand that they immediately open a criminal fraud investigation targeting Kevin, and a preemptive warning that my parents were attempting to coerce me into fraud. The insurance company's response was instant and seismic. Ms. Lopez called me again, this time sounding completely different, respectful, urgent, and terrified of my lawyer. They confirmed they were moving the case from claim to full-scale criminal investigation. The final confrontation came 4 days later. My parents had been aggressively texting and emailing me, demanding that I meet them to discuss family healing and implicitly sign the papers. They claimed Kevin was suffering severe mental stress and depression because of my hostility. I agreed to meet them at my house, but only if Kevin was present. I told them it was the only way to resolve the conflict and move on. They arrived looking strained but confident. Kevin shuffled in behind them, wearing a clean shirt and the smug expression of a man who believes his mommy and daddy will fix everything. He looked at me with disdain. Look, Sarah, Kevin started before I even offered them seats. I'm sorry I took the car, okay? But you need to stop being a brat. The insurance company is stalling the payout, and I need that money immediately. The payout is stalling because I haven't corroborated your version of events, Kevin, I said, sitting opposite them at my dining table. Just tell them you lent it to me. Why are you making this so hard? Mom pleaded, her eyes welling up with practiced tears. Don't you care about your brother? I care about not going to jail for insurance fraud, I replied calmly. Kevin actually laughed. Fraud? What fraud? I had permission. No, you didn't, I said, standing up. And I have proof that this was not a spontaneous accident or a joyride. This was a calculated crime. My parents exchanged a look, a familiar conspiratorial look that said, she's going crazy, David, let's calm her down. I didn't bother arguing. I had prepped my display. I walked over to the living room where I had set up a large TV screen connected to my laptop. Since we're discussing logistics, I announced, clicking a button, let's review the route you took, Kevin. The screen displayed the GPS map. A bright red line traced the journey from my house to the industrial park, the 45-minute stop highlighted in yellow, and the final fatal route to the Route 14 barrier. This is the GPS log from the car, Kevin, I explained. It shows you were at a location associated with illegal chop shops and money laundering schemes, not picking up specialized tools. Why were you there? Kevin's face paled, but he tried to bluster. That's faulty data. I was meeting a client. I don't remember exactly where. You also manually disabled the dashcam 3 minutes before the crash, I interrupted, clicking to the next screen showing the system log. Why disable the evidence, Kevin? My mother finally looked at the screen, her composure cracking. Sarah, stop this. You're torturing him. I'm just getting started, Mom, I said, clicking the final button. The screen filled with the text messages, Kevin's words blown up to 50 inches, stark and undeniable. We hit the barrier near the old 14th Street spot. She'll cave. She always caves to Mom and Dad. If she tries to claim theft, the insurer will deny her claim. Either way, she's screwed, and I get the cash flow. Silence in the room was absolute, deafening. Kevin's arrogance shattered into pure terror. His face was gray. He looked like he was about to vomit. That's not real. You forged that, he shrieked, jumping up and lunging towards the TV. My father grabbed Kevin's arm, but his own face was horrified. He recognized the tone, the motive, the specific details. He realized in that sickening moment that their golden child was a genuine criminal, and they had been trying to force me into covering up a felony. I didn't forge it, Kevin, I said, my voice steady as a rock. That came directly from the archived messages on my spare iPad, which you kindly used. The police and the insurance fraud team already have these printouts. They also have the location and identity of Mitch Logistics, as of 2 hours ago. Kevin completely broke. He collapsed onto the chair, sobbing, not out of remorse, but fear. No, they can't prove it. Mom, Dad, tell her to delete it. Them I was just joking. My parents were staring at me, their faces registering a blend of shock, disgust, and a deeply rooted hatred that I had finally defied them publicly. You knew we wouldn't sign those papers, didn't you? My father whispered, his voice trembling, not with sadness, but rage. You did this on purpose. You set him up to fail. No, I corrected him. You and Kevin set me up to fail. I just fought back. My lawyer is currently coordinating with the police, who will likely be contacting Kevin this evening. I strongly suggest you hire him a good defense attorney, because I will be pressing every charge available for the theft, destruction, and attempted fraud of my property." My mother stood up, her face distorted. She pointed a trembling finger at me. "You are not my daughter. You have destroyed your brother. You are dead to us, Sarah. Dead to this family." "Good," I replied, meeting her glare without flinching. "Because this family was trying to commit a crime against me. I'm moving on." I walked to the front door and opened it wide. "The meeting is over. Get out of my house." They stumbled out, dragging a sobbing Kevin between them. The final image I have of my brother is his tear-streaked face, twisted in a look of pure loathing, realizing his entire scheme, fueled by entitlement and guaranteed by my supposed loyalty, had evaporated. It was satisfying, but exhausting. The war is over, but the fallout is just beginning. I need to figure out how to live with the reality that my family truly hates me more than they love justice. I'll update you when the legal consequences hit Kevin fully. It's been 6 months since I last posted, since the dramatic confrontation at my dining table. 6 months of radio silence from my parents, endless legal paperwork, and the slow, grinding reality of what happens when you decide to sacrifice your entire family structure for the sake of justice. The immediate aftermath was intense. Kevin was indeed picked up for questioning that evening. The evidence, the digital logs, the explicit text messages, and the clear intent to defraud was overwhelming. The insurance company, eager to make an example and minimize their own losses, pressed maximum charges. Kevin eventually struck a plea deal to avoid jail time, which Charlotte, my amazing lawyer, advised was the fastest, cleanest way to get the restitution order. He pled guilty to felony grand theft and attempted insurance fraud. Restitution. Kevin was ordered to pay the full value of the vehicle to the insurance company, plus their legal fees and investigative costs. This debt is monumental. He will be paying this back for at least the next 2 decades. Probation, community service. He received 3 years of strict probation and a significant amount of community service hours, severely limiting his ability to travel or start any new schemes. Criminal record. The felony conviction effectively ended any chance he had of getting a legitimate, well-paying job. He's working minimum wage under the table, terrified of losing probation. As for my side, the insurance company finally processed my claim, recognizing that I was the victim of theft and fraud. I received the full market value of the SUV, which was enough to pay off the outstanding loan and even upgrade a bit. I bought a new car 2 months ago. It's a gorgeous, slightly different model, and yes, it has even better, unhackable security features. But the truth is, the joy of that first purchase, the sense of having earned something purely for myself, is gone. It's just a tool now, a means of transport. The victory is tangible, but the emotional cost made it feel cold. My parents, Ellen and David, have maintained absolute, total silence. Not a single text, email, or attempted phone call. They followed through on their promise. I am dead to them. Initially, this was a relief. The constant gaslighting, the demands, the anxiety of knowing Kevin was always lurking, it was gone. My peace of mind was restored, and my blood pressure probably dropped 20 points. But holidays are hard. My birthday passed, and the silence was palpable. I used to be the one who organized everything, the stable foundation they took for granted. Now I realize that stability was simply a bank account and an enabling hand. When I refused to enable, I became the enemy. I found out through a mutual acquaintance that my parents are struggling financially. They threw thousands of dollars at Kevin's initial defense before the plea deal, draining their savings. They are still actively supporting Kevin, viewing him as the poor, victimized golden child who was attacked by his vengeful, rich sister. The worst part is the narrative they are spinning, that I was trying to destroy Kevin's future out of spite, and that the text messages were coerced evidence. An outright lie. Obviously. They truly believe I am the villain in this story. They sacrifice their moral compass for Kevin's comfort, and they will live with that choice. I don't pity them, but I mourn the possibility of ever having a true family again. I sent my parents one final message a month ago, a professional email to their joint account. I hope one day you realize that protecting a criminal is not love. I wish you both well, but my boundary is permanent. They did not reply. I learned a crucial, difficult lesson. Sometimes getting justice means you have to be the bad guy in someone else's story, especially if that story is woven with layers of denial and entitlement. I have completely cut off contact with the extended family who took my parents' side. It's lonely, but my life is incredibly quiet and peaceful. I've thrown myself into my work and travel, focusing on building a life where I rely only on myself and the few true friends who stuck by me. I realize now that the relationship with my brother and parents was never a give and take. It was a constant, low-level drain on my resources and emotional health. Cutting them off was the best self-care decision I could have made, even if it came with the heavy price of total familial abandonment. I still keep Charlotte's contact info handy, just in case Kevin ever tries to breach the protective order I established. I'm always prepared now. The digital trail taught me that proof is everything, and emotional appeals are nothing. My victory is Pyrrhica. I achieved financial justice, secured my future, and exposed a criminal conspiracy. But I did it by severing the deepest roots of my life. I am free, but the freedom tastes a little like ashes. I'm okay, though. I am learning to build my own chosen family, brick by cautious brick. Thank you to listening.